What's going on, guys? Tyler here, and if you don't have a blog yet, you may want to start one. WordPress is perfect for starting a blog. Elementor makes it super easy, and I'm going to show you a feature today that will show you how to display your blog post in such an incredible fashion. It looks so clean, so crisp, so fresh on your website. You're really going to love it. So stay tuned for today's video. Hi again to all of my subscribers returning to today's video. I appreciate you stopping by. If you're new to the channel, be sure and smash that nice red looking subscribe button. And I wanted to tell you guys, I do have a series that I'm working on right now. I have started working on it. It is starting a website from basically absolutely nothing to a fully developed website and basically everything done there. So if you're interested in that series, make sure you're subscribed and you hit that little bell icon for notifications on future videos just like this one. And last but not least, Elementor Pro is an incredible feature. I'm pretty sure today's feature is in Elementor Pro. It may be in the free version as well. I know it's in Elementor Pro for sure. It is an incredible feature, and Elementor Pro just has so many awesome features like it. And as you're going to see today, it looks really, really, really good. So if you're looking to upgrade your site, just make it so much better, have so many nice features, really just bring that pop and wow factor to your site, be sure and check out the link down below in the description. See what kind of price you can get for Elementor Pro. Like I said, one of the best purchases I have ever made. So be sure and check that out in the link in the description. Now let's jump into my computer and start talking about blog posts. Alright guys, if you haven't started a blog yet, you may want to. There's a chance that just putting out blog posts could help you rank better in search engines. It helps with SEO because you're repeating keywords and things like that. You have more content in your site than just your kind of default home, about page, contact us type pages. There's a lot more content, so search engines can actually index those pages and find your posts and send people that are searching organically through, Google, Yahoo, places like that, and send them over to your site. There could be a little bit of organic traffic that you could get from just simply starting a blog. So it's worth a shot if you have the time, if you think it would be beneficial to your customers, to your clients, things like that. And today in this video, like I said, I'm going to show you how to display those posts beautifully. So let's just jump right in. Honestly, this looks so good. I'm very, very pleased with how this looks. These are individual posts. Now, whenever I make a new post on WordPress, this is what it's going to look like. And without doing anything else, but basically just setting this up once, these are how my blog posts are going to be displayed. I think it looks really nice. It took me about, well, I really didn't have any posts, so I had to put in all these dummy posts, so that took the most amount of time. But it honestly took me about 5 to 10 minutes to set up, and I was completely ready to go. Have this really nice, fresh page. It looks super good. I'm really, impressed and excited with how it turned out. So I'm going to show you guys how to make this today, and hopefully you guys start getting that organic traffic to your blog posts. And if not, you're sending your own traffic and people are seeing why they should buy your products and get started with your company. All right, let's go ahead and just jump right in. I am going to just go over and edit this page with Elementor. So we'll go over here, and basically all you have to do to get this started is, maybe it'll even be better if I just close this out completely. So this is the navigator right here. This will let you kind of see what I'm doing and what sections I'm working on. So I only have one section right now. I'm just going to go ahead and delete that right now. So we basically are starting with a fresh page here, and yeah, we've got everything good to go here. So I'm going to go ahead and just add a single section here, and then I'm going to go back over to menu and back to the elements here, and I'm going to drag in the posts element. Now this is a pro only feature, and like I said, check out that link down below if you're interested to get your hands on Elementor Pro. But let's go ahead and just drag this in here to our section, and just like that, we have now this post element that is bringing in our content kind of dynamically. It's pulling content from what's in our post list. So if you don't have any content here, that's probably because you don't have any blog posts made. I'm not really going to go too much into how to actually do that, but basically you can go over to your, I'm not sure if I have it here. If we go back to the dashboard, you can actually go over here and click under posts. You can hit all posts, add new. You can set up categories and things like that, but we'll talk about that more in just a second here. So we have this post element here, and you can see just like that, if that's all you want, if this is what you're looking for, you're basically done. It's ready to go. Now, one thing I do want to mention here is there are a lot of settings here, which I'm just briefly going to go through really quickly and kind of show you what I like and kind of the customizations that you guys can make. But yeah, this is just, I'm super excited about it because it's really cool. This is the classic settings right here, the classic look, or the classic skin, it says, but the classic look really. There are other options, like we can switch to cards, which is what I was using. And this is super cool. This is my very favorite. It has kind of like this feel of, you can see there's like a shadow here in between the two different cards. There's a gradient over the image. When I hover over it, you can kind of see that changes there. I think it just kind of has this really cool kind of depth feel to it. Each post looks like it's its own card. It just looks really nice, looks really clean. And I'm really happy with the way that looks right there. So I'm going to go with the cards skin setting right there. All right, buckle up because we're going to move quickly here. There are a lot of settings to cover, and I want to show you them all, or the majority of them, so you can kind of make your customizations as you want. Over here, there is a column here. These columns right here are different from this. They're not related. So these columns refer to the amount of columns that are in your posts widget. So for example, we have 3 here. If I switch this down to 2, you can see now we have only 2 posts showing per row because there's 2 columns there, right? So let's go ahead and just keep it. I like 3. I think that looks really good. That's a pretty good size too. You can go to 4. The smaller you get, though, you just have to be careful you're not cutting off titles or category little badges up there or anything like that. I'm just going to stick with 3. And again, you will want to check on tablet and mobile. It will switch the amount on tablet and mobile. If you need to change those, you can make those individual customizations there. But again, like I said, you don't want to make them too small, or you gotta get weird, funky things like that happening. So let's just stick with 3 right there. Now, post per page, this is kind of important. This is how many posts are going to be displayed on this page. Now, it is important to note you can change these to whatever number you really want, but you'll see your other posts get cut off. I'll show you how to actually fix that and bring those other posts in just a second. Show image, this is going to actually adjust whether you have the images up at the top, if you want any kind of images or not. If your pages are loading super slow, you may want to consider switching hosts. That might help speed up your pages. I have a link to my very favorite web host down below in the description. But if not, maybe you just need a text only version, you can go ahead and just hit no there. But for this, we're going to go ahead and keep that at yes. Now, Masonry doesn't really change a lot in these cards version, but you'll see kind of if your images adjust a little bit, it's because you're switching that on and off there. We're going to go ahead and leave the image size at medium, 300 by 300. We don't want our page load to be super slow loading, a lot of full versions of our pages or anything like that. You can go medium large. That'll kind of bring it a little bit crisper. If you notice the images increased in crispness a little bit. Image ratio, you can kind of adjust that as you want. I'm going to go ahead and leave it at a 0.66 is I believe what it defaults to. And whoops, let's go back here. Perfect. And the title, obviously, you can turn that on or off just like that. You have those titles right there. The HTML tag. Now you can go ahead and actually set these up in your global typography, global settings, all of that. You can go ahead and adjust these and set whichever tag you want. I just go with the H3 tag. That's what I've set up in my global settings. I have videos on that also, so check out the card up here if you are interested in global settings or anything like that. The excerpt, excuse me, this is going to show this little amount right here. Oops, excuse me, right here on this area where it has like a little tiny preview of what the post is going to say. You can turn that on or off. Obviously, it looks a little bit better and a little bit more like what you would expect when you keep it on here. This is the length. Now, if you adjust this to like 10, you can see this is going to cut it way down to like 10 words or something like that. I believe 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 10 words. So if you adjust it down, this will be the amount of words that are actually coming out in that preview. So if you're having like super long cards and you don't want that, you might want to adjust down your excerpt length. If you're having super, short cards, maybe you want to increase it and have more like, a long excerpt like that, so they can kind of start reading and then pick up as soon as they hit read more. For right now, I'm just going to leave it at the default of 25 right there. Now this is metadata. This refers to this data right down here, which is kind of like this light gray area right here. You have a few options of things you can add. Now I'm going to go ahead, by default it's just date and comments. I'm going to go ahead and actually close those out and bring up a few of the other options we have. I like author. Now you can set up the author in your WordPress profile. You can actually set up a first name and last name and how it's displayed to the public, whether you want to display maybe their username, or if you want to display their first name only or their last name only, or first name and last name, however you want to do it. You can set that up in a WordPress profile. Now that is under your users section in your WordPress dashboard. Once you do that, you will want to make sure that your individual post that you're working on has the author set to the right person, so that it is set up and this will appear correctly. Now other things that you can add right here are a date, a time. This is going to be the post date. You can add a time on the actual time of the post if you're posting maybe really often or something like that. And you can add comments. You can see it says no comments here. Now that's kind of how everything will display. You can adjust these, move these around however you want to do it. I kind of personally like the author and the date, and then you have the option to kind of select a separator. For example, we have the single dot right there. I could do maybe like a slash, and that changes right here. You can see that those changes are reflected in between the two pieces of information in the metadata there. Some other options people might use could be a plus sign maybe, or an and sign. You could use, a dash, anything like that that kind of just separates the two. That would be kind of helpful and beneficial to your reader to kind of see the break in information right there, because without it, it looks a little bit just kind of like it blends together. So let's go ahead and just set it back to the dot, and we will leave it there. Now don't worry about it being too big. We will adjust that in just a minute. It is obviously a little oversized and getting rolled over to the next line. We don't really want that, but we'll take care of that in a minute. If you want the read more link right here, you can either choose to hide that or show that, and we'll go ahead and show that. You can adjust the text right here if you want to say learn more, or continue on, or whatever you want to say right there. You can do that. Read more is fine for me. I can also adjust those two little arrows right there if I need to. You can choose for that link to actually open in a new window if that's what you're looking for. And then we have the badge. The badge is actually really cool, and really, I think it looks really good, especially because I'm using kind of just kind of mellow images in the back. They're black and white. They don't really pop off the page. They're not really like something that I'm like trying to highlight or anything like that. I just kind of want it to look kind of flat and just kind of, nothing out of the ordinary, because I want these tags. I want my profile image. I want the read more button. I really want those to pop. So I'm using, very basic images back there, but the badge really pops off, and it's because it's got my accent color that I set up in my global color settings. It's using that accent color to really pop. You can turn that on or off. What it is doing is actually grabbing the category data from the post. So that individual post, so for example, this business post that I did, I set up with a category of Elementor. So it's grabbing that category from my post data back there. It's up to you if you want to set that up. And again, you can change this right here if you want to change it to tags. So it's like you can set up the tag data on your post, or formats, or media categories, whatever you want this actual badge to display. You can set that up right here. Or if you don't even want the badge, you can simply turn it off. And that doesn't look bad right there. I just kind of like the badge. I think it kind of brings that more pop factor there. Your avatar. Now this is something you can just turn off if you don't want it. If you maybe haven't set up an avatar, you can just turn it off right there. I personally like it. I kind of think it brings that kind of cool feel to it that like I'm the author or the creator of this post. Now, one thing I do want to mention is you have to set this up in Gravatar, which is they have some kind of affiliation with WordPress. Maybe they're owned by WordPress. I'm not totally sure there. But if you go into your WordPress user settings again and set a profile picture for your user, you can't actually do it in WordPress. You have to use the gravatar.com website to actually set up a profile picture. So basically go into WordPress, go to users, click on the profile, go to find the profile picture section, settings, and then I'll say you'll probably have to go to Gravatar and sign up. You go to Gravatar, sign up, use the same email address that you use with your WordPress user account, and sign up on Gravatar, and you basically upload an image to Gravatar. It's going to resize it and do all that kind of stuff. And then it will just kind of pull from it. When you go back to your WordPress users, you'll see your profile picture was updated, and it will pull from it here as well. Now, when I did this, it took about 5 to 10 minutes before it actually updated and was pulling it. It still showed that I didn't have any profile image for like a good 10 minutes before it finally updated. I just went through refreshing this page, refreshing my WordPress user page, and refreshing the Gravatar page, and finally it just popped up. So if you're having issues with that, you can definitely check that out and refresh the pages like that. Let's go on to query here. This is basically what posts it's going to be pulling from. So it doesn't even have to be posts. You could pull from pages here. And if we do that, you can see these are just kind of tutorial pages I've made, but you can pull from pages. It's just like that. We'll do posts here because that's kind of what I want to display here. And then you can include certain posts. You can exclude certain posts. You can include them by author, by term. You can sort them by date. So if it's like, sorry, not sort, but actually limit how many you're bringing in. So if you only want maybe the past week of posts, you can click that right there. Then you can order them by date or by title or by random order or menu order, however you want to do it. And then there's your order setting there. So if it's date, if you want it descending, so the most recent going backwards, and then if you want it ascending, it would be like the oldest moving down towards the newest, like that. You can ignore sticky posts. Sticky posts ordering is visible on front end only. I wouldn't worry about that unless you're using sticky posts, and you have that setting there. Query ID, again, some more like customization. I don't even need to worry about that. This right here, these settings right here, is way more than I need. Pagination is kind of cool. This is how we're actually going to bring in our other posts. So like you saw originally, I had 6 posts, right? But I limited it to 3 per page. Well, this is where you're actually setting up your pages. Now, they might not be fully like pages like you're thinking, but you can see here now I have at the bottom the option to go between multiple pages again. They're not like full, I'm not creating full WordPress pages, but I have the option to kind of rotate between multiple pages. So if there's a page limit here, you can set like a maximum. You can shorten them. I don't really know what that does here. You can use previous and next. You can switch if you like kind of like this next button and this previous button, or if you want numbers and previous and next, you can do that. We'll just use numbers here. I think that looks pretty good. You can align them left, right, center. So that is pagination, and moving on, we are going over to the style tab. Now this is where you get to do the actual like customization of your cards, and this is exciting actually. It's really cool. You can make these kind of very like unique to you. I really honestly like how they look default. They're really nice. There's just a few little updates that I need to change, like this metadata text down here. I need to adjust the size a little bit, and if I wanted the profile picture a little bit bigger maybe, but really I think it looks pretty good. Columns, gaps, regardless. Let's actually go back to content and add post per page. We'll go back to 6 so you can actually see what we're doing here. Perfect. So we got all the posts there. We'll go back to style. Columns gap is actually going to adjust how much spacing is between the columns, and the same exact thing for the rows gap. I believe, was it 35 what it was set at? We'll just set it back to there. So yeah, this is kind of going to adjust how, how thick and how wide the rows and columns are, just like that. Let's go over to card. Again, you can set alignment to. This will align basically everything on the card. You can align it left or right or center. I think it was defaulted to left. Yeah, I'll just leave it. Actually, I unchecked the left, so if you double select one, it will unselect it. So I'm just going to leave it at that. As far as cards go, we have a background color. You can adjust the actual color of the card if you want to make it, some certain color or something like that. I'm not going to do that because I think, the white looks really good with the shadow around it. Still under card here, we can set a border if you want to set a border. Again, I don't think it needs a border because we have this shadow around it. It's pulling the white off of the white background. I think that looks okay. You can set the border width. The border radius, you may want to do this. This actually increases the roundness of the corners. And this, honestly, this doesn't look too bad. If we actually, update this and preview this, it looks pretty cool when you have these kind of rounded corners. You kind of get that feel of like, oh, it's a card, but it's rounded, and kind of put together nicely. I think it looks pretty nice. So we have that. If you want to make that change right there, I might do it just a little bit, maybe, yeah. I don't know, we'll say 12, something like that. Horizontal padding, if you need any kind of padding, this is going to be your padding kind of like horizontally, like this way, obviously. And your vertical padding, that's going to be pushing it up. Now you can see the edge of the card is up here. That's pushing vertical padding from the top. So let's just go ahead and leave these at 0. We don't need any of that. The box shadow, this is where you can actually choose to select it or not. And when I keep saying there's a shadow on here, you can see that box shadow is gone now. There's basically no distinction between this card, that card, and the background. It just kind of all flows together. It's all white there. But if you turn on the box shadow, you get this kind of distinction between the two cards and the background there. The hover effect, this is a gradient effect. Basically, as I hover, it might be hard to tell in this video, but as I hover over, there's a slight black gradient that will disappear to kind of show that you're highlighting which one. So if you look really closely at the bottom of this image, you can kind of see that gradient happening. And the shadow, it looks like, may increase a little bit, so you can kind of show that the focus is on that card. It just kind of helps like show you which one you're hovering over and which one you're selecting. This is the meta border color. Now this is going to be this little line down here. I think the light gray looks nice. It doesn't look like it's anything, unique or anything kind of like detracts from your content of your blog post. Let's go over to image here. This image is actually where you can set up spacing. So this is going to be the spacing between your content and the actual image that you've set. Let's just leave that at 20 there. And then these are CSS filters. If you want any kind of like hovering effect, like let's just go here. This might be kind of cool. Let's go ahead and add like a little bit of a blur, right? So you can see there's a blur in the image back here, right? So we've added a blur to, we're at 2.5, perfect. Now let's go ahead and change the hover now to a blur of 0. And if we hover over, you can see they come into focus because it was like blurred and now it's coming into focus. So I don't know whether you like that or not. That's kind of cool, I guess. It won't work for mobile, obviously, so you gotta just kind of keep that in mind. But I don't really think we need any kind of CSS filters. That's okay. Badge position. This is actually going to align this badge left or right up there. The background color. Now this is going to be. Let me see here. This is the color for the badge. I'm sorry, we're under the badge settings now. So if you want something kind of more subtle and not so vibrant, you can adjust that right there or set whatever color you want. I personally like my accent color. I think it pops. All right, text color, and we're still under the badge settings, is going to refer to the actual text color of the badge. If I change it to black, you can see how this Elementor right here is now changed to black. I'm going to go ahead and just keep it, or actually just reset it here. I think I can do that. Perfect. So it's set to white by default is what I have my global settings set to. Border radius right here, this is the actual roundness of the badge. If you want maybe a square badge, you can definitely do that. You just turn the border radius all the way down to 0. This is the actual size of the badge. If say that the badge is way too big or way too small or something like that, you can definitely adjust the size right there. Looks like maybe, I don't know, maybe a 10, maybe a 12 is the default right there. Yeah, looks like a 12 right there is pretty much the default. You can always just backspace the number, delete the number out, and it'll go back to default. The margin, this is actually, again, the margin from the badge from where it is positioned relative to the corner of the card here. So if you're increasing the margin, it's going to push it down. If you're decreasing the margin, it's going to pull it back up. Again, I'm just going to delete that. I think it was default. Yeah, it just defaults back there. The avatar, now this is actually the size of your little profile image. You can increase this here. Like I said, I thought it was a little bit small. I could increase it a little bit. That might be kind of big. You just gotta keep in mind that increasing this size may be a little bit big for mobile. So you want to switch to your mobile version and see, kind of how big you're looking at on mobile. It looks pretty good. So I'll probably just leave it right around 60. That's probably okay. Let's see, maybe we can increase it. Yeah, maybe we can go all the way up. Let's see here. If we go back to desktop, let's increase it and see. So we're at 90 now. This is the max that it's allowing us to slide up to. If we switch to mobile, that really doesn't look too bad. So yeah, we could go with 90 right there. Let's switch to tablet, see how that looks. That looks pretty good. Yeah, actually, so I'll just leave it at 90. That looks good. It's just kind of bringing in, it makes it pop a little bit more and kind of really is prominent there on the card. Now let's go back over to content. Here is the next section. Now this is going to be the actual section or the actual text that is in the card here. So we have title. Again, same adjustments. I'm not going to go through all these. I'll just be really brief and quick here. You can change the color of the title, the typography, meaning the font, the size, the capitalization, however you want to do that. The spacing of the title, how much spacing in between the title and the other content. Meta is going to refer to this content down here. So we do need to change this because this is one thing I do want to adjust. So I'll go over here to typography, hit edit here and bring the size. I think the size looked pretty good at 12. So let me go pull this down to 12. Perfect. That looks pretty good to me. It's kind of like not as prominent, but you can still have that data there if you kind of want to see it. Now this would be the color, the separator color here in the meta data there, and then the excerpt is going to have your same settings, color, typography, spacing, all that stuff. The read more, you can adjust the color of the read more right here if you need to change that. Again, but those are the same settings for the most part there. On to, where are we? Pagination here. This is where you can adjust how this actually looks. We have the numbers here. You have a few different settings. You have the normal, which is going to be like the actual numbers that are not being used. They're just displayed there. You have when you hover over them, you can change those settings right here. And you have the active, meaning you're actively on that page. So we're actively on page 1. So any kind of adjustments I make to this will adjust the active page there. So page number 1, for example. But you can make all those adjustments. Basically what you would do is go into color. You can change that and things like that. You can also change the typography. Say you want that a certain font or a certain size or anything like that. You can go ahead and edit that right there. That's pretty much it, guys. We're pretty much done. There are advanced settings if you need them, but I think this looks really good. Let's just go ahead and take a look at the final product, see how it looks, and how we are looking on the page. I think it just refreshed here, but yeah, there we go. I think that looks really good. My profile picture is a little bit big. I might want to bring that down, and I actually do kind of like the rounded corners on these, so I can definitely do that, and that's super easy to do. So to make those small changes, all we would do is go back over to our editor here. We would jump in image, and you can see I've already adjusted this back down, but basically you set your image size right here for your avatar, and we're gonna stay in image and go over here to border radius, and I'm just gonna leave it at its default, the rounded corners. Maybe drop it down just a little bit so it's not as round. Yeah, we'll leave it at 6 there. Let's go ahead and update, and this is the final product, guys. I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I think it looks super nice, super fresh. I mean, people can really, you know, get this feel of these individual, like almost like you could touch them and hold them like cards, which are blog posts. I think it looks super cool. I think your users and your clients and customers will really like them as well. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Again, this is an Elementor Pro feature. If you haven't upgraded yet, be sure and check out the link down below in the description. See what kind of price you can get for it. It is really a phenomenal plugin. As you just saw today, there's so many features, so many settings for customization. It's redonkulous. It's really amazing. So be sure and check that link out down below in the description. And last but not least, if you are not subscribed, please consider smashing that nice red looking subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. And like I said, I am working on that series, that creation, website creation from the ground up series. So you will definitely want to see that. Thank you guys so much and have a great day. Take care.